Social media in this time, I think, has been a really double-edged sword for a lot of people. Yeah. That's something we heard quite a lot when we put out the call for questions, and we will get to you guys' questions.
I got answers.
Yes. I think social media, we've seen in such a short span of time, so many things that it can do well, right? We've seen the way it can bring people together around causes, issues. We've seen the way it can allow people to communicate when they're physically separated. We've seen, our ability to give money to people who need it, or causes that we believe, things like this that are, I think often we're not grateful enough for, that we have this, even just going through social distancing, the ability to call anyone you want anywhere in the world and have them, on your phone in front of you is just such a privilege. But I also think for a lot of people, there has been with very little else to do often socially. We're not seeing our friends as much. We're not going out. We're not, we don't have a lot of those distractions, but also because a lot of the news feels very scary and very overwhelming and very difficult to manage, that I think people are caught often in this cycle of over-consuming or being too on social media, too connected a little bit. How do you manage to use social media in a way that feels additive to your life and in a way that feels like you're controlling it versus the opposite? Yeah. And how do you consume news in a way that is helpful?
Yeah, that's actually one of the things I wanted to share today about like mindful consumption, and that we have to have, we're in relationship to everything in our lives, right? And mostly it's like, how do you choose to consume? Consume food, consume people, consume energy, consume news, consume media. Resources we can just go, and how do you consume your clothes, how do you consume everything? So, and that's by choice. Everything's by choice. I tend to think that everything's a practice, right? Because I am about to tell you how to have a healthy relationship with social media, and I can also tell you that I have to work at having a healthy relationship with social media.
Don't we all?
It sucks me in. So it's a practice. Everything is a practice. Mindful consumption is a practice. And if we can look at things as a practice, we're taking out the judgment, we're taking out the pass-fail that our society so thrives on, and looking at things as, what do I need to learn from this so I can live a more aligned, balanced life? Right. So, right now, you can't turn on the news without it just being horrible. I mean, I really have not seen any piece of news on TV that has been something positive or uplifting. And
there was a Supreme Court ruling yesterday that felt like I saw someone on Twitter was like, I'm sorry, did we just like go into a different reality because this feels like way too good news for everything that's been happening.
I'm so thankful for that Supreme Court ruling, right? So I would say that we have to have a diet with it, right? We have to have a disciplined diet. So it's taking breaks, right? Like having it timed. So when you get up in the morning, maybe not jumping right on social media, which is very difficult to do, I know, but go look at the sun first, right? Yeah. Say 3 things out loud that you're grateful for. Touch your own heart, right? And then, if you have to, go on social media. But also, like, the unfollow button is awesome.
It's your friend.
It is your friend, right? Like, truly. Now is not the time for mediocre news or mediocre influencers. And like some influencers might feel really offended that I said that, but like seriously, there's some mediocre trash out there. And like unfollow it. Because right now we're living in such uncertain, crazy times. We've never lived in this type of world before.
Right.
We're learning all this together. So like you get that best information. You get that good word, right? Like unfollow the mediocre. Only follow what's actually filling you up. If it's taking away from you, unfollow. And then I think also breaks from news, break from social media, and then admitting that you have a problem with it. I have a problem with it, right? Like I will literally like sit there. I remember one day I was on my Facebook on my computer, and then I picked up my phone and went on Facebook on my phone, and I was what is happening with my life? Like that's insane.
It is.
And so I've had to like be really intentional about like, okay, I'm gonna go on here now, especially as someone that I don't have like a big following. I'm not an influencer, but I have like a growing community. I call them like they're my darlings, my Night with Melissa darlings, and and we engage each other.
Yeah.
And I do believe that I can have tools and resources to get out to this community that they're looking for. And there's people that are doing a way better job being influencers than I will ever be being an influencer, right?
Yeah.
But I do know that I have educational resources to give out. So I think it's for someone that's on social media that's like a potential influencer is know your craft, know your talent, know your gift, and like really drive that home and don't worry about what anyone else is doing.
Totally.
I think like we get into such comparison and it's like, no, just like know your lane, stick with it, don't care about anyone else, because we have a unique gift and talent that like who you're speaking to is not who I'm speaking to, and who I'm speaking to is not who that person's speaking to.
Right.
But someone needs to hear us.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So like let those people find you. Like
You were able to form mostly as an adolescent without it.
absolutely. I
Yeah.
was. And I think I'm so thankful for that.
Same.
Because I can look at that now and be like, but that's not real life. Now someone that grew up with it, are they able to do that? If someone's not telling them, then it's not.
No.
And so that's why I think that on the one hand, social media can be dangerous, and then the other, and harmful. And then the other hand, I think it's actually an amazing resource. So, like if you look at the movement for Black Lives and all of the from an organizing perspective, it's a lot of the way that organizers are getting words out, resources out, education. If you look at even the share the mic, how influencers, both black and white, are sharing the mic and sharing their resources and educational outputs. So I think there's just like beauty in social media, and then there's just harm in social media.
Yeah.
And we need to just keep educating the realities of what is. Again, like I'm a truth teller. I'm always looking for, well, what's the truth, right?
Yeah.
And the truth is, right now we're living we live in a world that's unjust, that's built on patriarchy and white supremacy, and for a need to dominate. And those narratives, indoctrinated narratives, inflictions of, are in all of our systems and in all of our structures. And right now we're being asked to examine all of them.
Yeah.
And to unlearn them and to build a new world that's built on something completely different than that. That's built on equality, that's built on love, that's built on compassion. And I think that we can do that. So we can hold and this is mindfulness, hold the truth for what it is. All of it's good, all of it's bad, all of it's ugly, while still dreaming and bringing and building a new world.